Whether you're an SDR, a BDE,
a commercial director, or a chief revenue officer,
this is the show for you.
the dirty word in business.
And yet, the lifeblood for any business.
It's the S word.
Sales.
This show puts the fun back in sales, where myself, Tash Rebuck, and my co-host
Steph Melodia.
deep dive into outreach strategies
Review effective sales tactics.
and even cold call live on air.
Learn from us or laugh at us.
That's what we're here for.
Now, sit back and relax as we talk about what no one else wants to.
Welcome to the S word.
Welcome back to the S Word. We are so happy to have you here. If this is your first time tuning in, a very big warm welcome. And if you are returning, we love you so much. Quick question. Have you already hit that follow subscribe button? If not, now's your chance. Thank you so much. All right. Now, it doesn't feel like it to you guys because hopefully you've been religiously tuning in.
Of course they have.
Every single Monday morning. Top of the list. The most important thing of your week. But it has been a while for us behind the scenes since we've been in the studio. So we're excited to get back at it.
There's going to be an unhinged energy in the room today.
As usual.
Yeah, that's fair.
What's different? But what's very exciting about this, and Tash doesn't know this, I love surprising Tash live on the air. I feel like this has become a thing now. I love it.
I feel like a kid at Christmas.
You should. I always bring you these surprises.
Is it an envelope of money?
Almost.
Oh, okay.
Not quite.
Oh.
And so you guys are in for a treat as well because you're going to get to see Tash's live reaction to this. Tash, since we last, her face, zoom in on her face for this. This is so good. Since we were last in the studio, we've released a number of episodes. And what I wanted to share with you, and to let the gang know this as well, and this is a huge shout out to you guys, is we've passed a very special milestone. Check this out.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
We are not sharing the details live, but it's got off to a fantastic start.
Oh my gosh!
I also need to mention that that's a screenshot that I also took a while ago that I've saved. But if I actually go and check live, the number's going to be even bigger. This is where Tash's face is just the best. Let me switch shows.
Oh my God, for a second.
Switch.
Oh! You guys are listening to us. You love us. You really, really love us. Jane, I feel like I could cry. This is very nice. This is very validating. This does feel like an envelope of money. Thank you so much. Look at us go.
You can see why I've been sat on this and saved it for live. Because do you know how tempted I was to send you that screenshot?
Oh, I can imagine
on
the
WhatsApp?
moment you saw it, you were like, I have to send it.
No, I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm going to share it with her live in the studio. So, gang, thank you for creating this moment for Tash's reaction here. By supporting the show. We're off to a really, really strong start. So this is indeed very validating. We're, of course, super happy that you're enjoying what we're doing here. I, for one, I was saying to Tash earlier, I need positive reinforcement.
She really does.
This is why Tash is so much better at sales than I am, because I need to know, like, things are happening, and they are with this show. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Maybe share this with a friend if you know anyone.
Not maybe. Do it. Do it now.
She's got a taste of success.
And I want more. I'm hungry. No, please do. Please. Pretty please.
To be fair, the amount of people that I speak to that do struggle with sales, you know, I say this all the time. If you're in business, you're in sales, right?
Yeah.
So whether you are a professional salesperson and some variation of that is in your job title, or you're a founder, plate spinning entrepreneur, doing all the things, this is the show for you. So I'm sure you all know someone, at least, that you can send this to. So make Tash's day. And who knows, maybe there's an even better milestone that you can create for us, for me to get a bigger reaction from Tash. Actually, should Tash do something?
I don't like where this is leading. Okay, what's
Should we do something if we sales targets?
Yeah,
If
okay,
we
let's
hit
do a
a
sales
target.
target. Let's do a sales target then. We should say a certain number of subscribers.
10 times that number. that I
10
showed
times that
you.
number. I will do my deal dance. No, seriously, the amount of comments and questions I get, like, what's your deal dance? Can you do my deal dance? No one but my wife knows my deal dance.
Ooh.
If we 10 times that number, I will do my deal dance.
And it will change your life.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, yeah, it will change your life. It is me at my silliest.
Look, if you want to see Tash at her... wait, what did you just say? At her silliest?
At my silly billiest.
Have I not seen you at your silliest?
You have not. I know. We haven't reached that level of friendship.
Make this happen. Okay. All right, let's do it. Gang, thank you so much for tuning in. This episode is kind of like this BuzzFeed princess quiz, choose your sales fighter. We're going to go through the 5 archetypes in sales and let's see who you identify with. If you know someone, I'm sure we all know someone that fits the bill with some of these descriptions. So we're going to run through each of these 5. Let's see if you kind of see yourself in any of these, what situations they're good for, strengths, weaknesses. Let's dive in. All right, Tash, kick us off with the first one.
All right, so I'm going to start with a bit of a confrontational one, I would say. Controversial as well. We've all worked with this person. I would say anyone who has sales in their name has potentially either been this person or thought about being this person, and that is the snake. The snake is that salesperson that is quietly competitive. And it might not even be about numbers, but it is about them. They want to succeed. They want to get the deals they want to get, and they will do anything it takes to get it. That can be being sneaky with your team, being a snake internally, but that can also obviously mean being a snake with your clients and not being truthful or being manipulative. And a few examples that often come to mind is when I first started to try and get into sales, I was first put forward to a lot of recruitment roles. And I think I've talked about this before, but basically they asked me, like, would I steal a job off someone else if I thought I had the right candidate? And every time I said no. And it is because I am not the snake. Like, it's not, I think there's a lot of value in it, and we'll talk about there can be value in it, but that's just not my persona. And that is a very good example. Your colleague sat next to you, you see an opportunity that you could take, but they are working on going around them, under them, over the top of them, whatever it is, to get that deal. That is snaky. And we've all worked with one.
I'm sure we can all think of someone that comes to mind. There may be a particular job profession that I keep dragging through the mud on this, where it seems to be more rife than others. But what comes to mind for me on this, and we've got a few others to run through, so we'll keep it snappy, but the incentivization structure, I guess more from like a managerial, like leadership position, is, to me, what this speaks to is like that carrot, that short-term reward, especially with sales. You know, you've got the numbers in front of your eyes, you've got the value of a contract. Like, look, we're human, right? Like, we've all got, we've got the good and bad. Like, some of us are greedier than others. And so if you see that opportunity, that temptation, you're going to want to go for it. And so the incentivization structure that's put in place for a lot of salespeople is around like that commission, the time frame. We've talked about this a lot, which is really interesting to cover. The time frame, because if you're working to monthly or quarterly targets, it's where we've talked about sacrificing that long-term relationship, the relationship with your colleagues, because you've got your quota to hit at a certain point. So how would you overcome the incentive structure to kind of demotivate the snake in some salespeople?
So if I was managing a snake, and I've worked with them, the best thing you can do is try to redirect it.
Yeah.
Because the energy that the thing is, every salesperson needs a target and they need an incentive. Yes, I think if you have someone who's aggressive and they're on a monthly target, if it makes sense for the business, extending it is better, because often the pressure of a deadline is what will make a salesperson misbehave.
Yeah.
But truly, a snake has some really good skills.
Okay, let's hear them.
They will do anything to get a deal. They will work hard. They will find the loopholes. It was Steve Jobs who was like, I'd prefer to hire someone lazy but really clever than someone who's going to work really, really hard and have to do everything the long way. I want someone who's really intelligent, is going to be super lazy and find the easiest way to do something.
Right.
There's a lot of like brilliance in that. And that is often what a snake will do, except they're not lazy because they'll do anything. So if you can redirect that and have a conversation with them and meet them on their level and be like, hey, look, I think you're brilliant, but I think that maybe not saying the word as strong as like morally, but values wise, this is how we need you to operate. Suddenly you've got like an amazing asset and everyone in the team is a lot happier.
Yeah, great advice. What comes to mind is a friend of mine. She actually recently hired like a head of growth. And she said there was one line at the top of their CV that stood out to them and just instantly was like, we need to hire this person. And it was a testimonial from a previous boss that said, I feel sorry for anyone at the other side of a negotiation table with this person.
Oh, that's good.
And she, my friend, recognised they don't have any of that in the team. Like neither her nor her co-founder nor anyone else, like they don't come from a sales background. And so they had that recognition that this is what's missing in the team. We need someone to come in that's driven, that is,
nice.
Yeah, that's going to get the deal done.
Love that.
All right,
moving on. Who's the next?
The
What have
next
you got
one.
for me?
The next one is the Braveheart cold caller.
Well, we love them.
Maybe self-identify a little bit on this one. Gang, if you haven't already tuned in to the episode where Tash and I very first met, which is on a different show called Strategy and Tragedy, just search those keywords and Tash's name, my name, and you'll find it. This is where we first met. We were sat here in this room, recorded, and my wheels were turning ahead of this, doing this episode with this sales expert that I didn't really know before. And I was like, how fun would it be to pick up the blowers and cold call live on the air? Not only that, but we had a live audience member with us as well. Just
a little extra pressure.
Just
for funsies. Yeah,
just for funsies.
Why not?
Because 3 cameras is not enough. And I didn't really feel it in the moment, but I did get a lot of response from Tash as well included. The bravery of that, the courage, the confidence. For me, I definitely get an adrenaline rush from it. I find it's really fun, but of course you do need to rev yourself up for it. Now, in today's day and age, we all know that we can hide behind an array of tools, automations. We've talked about this a lot on the show as well, right? Whether it's email, LinkedIn outreach. In fact, we did a really fun outreach roulette episode. We'll link that in the comments for you to line up straight after this one. We've got all these different ways that we can kind of put ourselves out there. But there's something about cold calling. In fact, I was having coffee with a friend yesterday and she was running through all the lead generation tactics that she's doing. Did she mention cold calling?
No, of course not.
Not at once. And it's funny, it's like we were all hiding behind this. And I think what's fascinating as well is like, we'll go out to, even the most introverted will push themselves to go out to an event, to go network. Even that is kind of icky for a lot of people, like networking, striking up conversation with a stranger. But I've noticed people are even more likely to do that than pick up the phone.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I think that if there was any sales tactic that I would say is the absolute bottom of everyone's preference, it is cold calling, which is why if you have someone who loves to cold call, as long as they are directed in the right way and as long as they are booking meaningful meetings, not just smashing the phone and getting anyone to agree to meet because they're like, oh my God, I just want to get off the phone. I'll say yes, but I'll never show up. Mm-hmm. You've got the most valuable person in your sales team.
100%. And it's exactly that same reason why no one wants to do it that presents the greatest opportunity. So we've talked about this all the time, and especially now we're doing a separate episode again on AI and how it's changing the sales game. But this is part of it as well, is like, do things that don't scale, hyper-personalized. What can you do that is both AI-proof and recession-proof? Cold call and picking up the phone. And we've seen, AI is moving at breakneck speed. So already I know that by the time we release an episode, I'm sure 12 other things have happened in the meantime, keeping us on our toes. But Tash said in another episode how AI was utilized to send a voice note on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Try and dig out that episode as well. But as sophisticated as it's getting, you can still tell. Yeah. Unless it is perfect, it creates this uncanny valley and it just ruins the whole charade. You know, the smoke and mirrors is completely lifted. So we've got the brave cold caller. I think this is such a superpower. I think it is such a dangerous weapon to have in your armour. And exactly to Tash's point, it isn't just, again, about kind of the numbers and hitting the quotas. You've got to get that quality as well. But it's so effective. We've done this live on the air. We've since done our own cold calling sessions and you booked a meeting off one session.
Yeah.
Would that have happened if we sat here blasting out emails?
Almost definitely not. Like, because we were only able to call maybe 10, 15 people. Out of those 15 people, maybe 3 picked up, 2 gave us the information of the next person who was the right one to speak to, and one of them had a meeting with us.
Yeah.
I mean, those are, and like, I'm running outreach campaigns for people constantly. Those are the best statistics you can get for cold outreach. They really are.
Right.
But it is, I mean, that's why the name is Brave, because you do have to be brave to do it. And also there is a certain level of skill to getting it right as well, because if you do bad cold calls, you are annoying. So I understand the fear.
Jumping on here real quick to say, if you so much as smirked, chuckled, laughed out loud, or learned something new listening to either this episode or any of our other episodes, and you still haven't hit that follow or subscribe button, guess what? Today is your lucky day. We're giving you that opportunity now. Aren't you lucky? Hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to us. It really helps us to support the show, to keep going, to keep delivering all this wonderful quality that you've hopefully enjoyed this far. Thanks so much. Let's get back to the episode.
I also understand it can be annoying when you're in a team and there is one person walking around on their phone, smashing the calls constantly, and you are sat there like as an engineer being like, shut up, shut up, shut up. But that's why you've got that lovely high engineering salary, is because of that person doing cold calls. So, you know, we have to appreciate the cold caller, I think.
And if you would like some inspiration, then do check out our cold calling episodes, because Tash here is the master. So to watch her at work and learn from her, seeing it in person, modeling actually how to do it, do check out those other episodes. All right, let's move it along. What's the third sales character?
This is a little bit cheeky because technically this should be one sales character. And this is a real bee in my bonnet. But I'm going to put them into 2. Which is, and this is very Tekken style, but like hunter versus farmer. And this is something that is really interesting, because when you were a salesperson, there was no between. You were a hunter and a farmer. You might be better at one or prefer one, but you had to be both. Now, and I sound like really old when I say this, and like, but I have been in sales for like well over a decade now. So like things have changed, but more and more people are saying, I'm a hunter. I go out and get leads. I do the cold calling. I do the cold outreach. I get meetings in the diary. That's all I care about. I want a good commission structure. Boom, 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 done. And then you have the farmer who says, I come with a great like black book of contacts, and if you have existing relationships, I can really build on them. I'll be the upseller that you've been looking for, blah, blah, blah. Here's the issue. The hunter needs to progress in their career. At a certain point, they need to learn how to pitch and like learn to nurture relationships. And at a certain point, the hunter's leads and network will run out. And so they then need to learn how to be a hunter. But the issue is by the time either of them realize, it is too late for them and it's too late for the company they're at, and the well is dry. And so it frustrates me because for the hunter, you're limiting your career options. You're limiting your growth. You should always be learning. Don't just go, I'm a meeting booker and that's it. Unless that is all you want to do for your whole life, which is like actually totally fair enough. You're amazing at it. It's all you want to do. Fine. But very rarely does a salesperson not have the ambition to grow. So don't shoot yourself in the foot early. And for the farmers, there is a certain point where people are going to clock on that you run out of leads. And if you're not able to bring them in, that is a skill set that is very, very hard to learn. And a lot of people at that stage don't want to learn it either. So those are my 2 split personalities. My advice, if you're managing one or the other, is to tell them they have to learn to be the other and to start making that happen now. Because the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. Don't get to like the panic point before you go, okay, let's teach you how to do the other thing.
Yeah, for sure. Makes perfect sense. Bouncing off you on that, I'm also thinking about it again from the prospect or the lead's perspective as well, because you kind of buy into somewhat people by people.
Yeah.
You know, and so I know that people do appreciate that continuity throughout that process. So as much as you can look at your internal team structure, your org, it's as always, put the customer first. I feel like I'm just like a cliche machine here, right?
No, but it's most of the advice I give is like recenter to the customer.
Exactly, right? Like cliches for a reason. And so even from that perspective as well is like that continuity. Amazing. Okay, this next one.
I'm excited for this one.
I'm glad that you are so excited.
You're wearing an appropriate outfit for this one.
I love that. That's a big compliment. It's Kris Jenner style. I've just rummaged around in Kris Jenner's wardrobe. That's all it is.
I love that. Good for you.
I'm glad you're excited about this because I'm going to be honest, this is my favourite. This next sales character is called the authority. Now, as the name indicates, I use the term with my clients, be the doctor in the room. So this is perfect for coaches, consultants, any sort of subject matter expert, even lawyers, for example. It's really, as the name indicates, about conveying this level of authority. In fact, a book called Challenger Sale is on my read list. I haven't read it yet, but it talks about this as well. It's taking charge of the conversation. It's literally, leading the conversation. It's demonstrating your subject matter expertise through your discovery call. That might be being very kind of bold and honest with your advice. There's none of this people-pleasing energy. There's demonstrating some of your knowledge so that, actions speak louder than words. And you're almost selling. The selling is almost a byproduct of that trust and belief in your expertise in the process. Make sense?
I really like that. I really like that. I think because that, fits into the world of consultative sales and it not being a demand or a manipulation. It's like taking the time to get to know someone and actually giving the right diagnosis. I like the doctor in that.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally that. It's the doctor in the room is something that's always stuck with me. And I wonder if this is slightly controversial because I have heard other sales professionals actually go against the grain with this. And I've heard other leaders, other podcasters that I've been listening to. I've not been cheating on my show. Wow. It is R&D, I promise.
Taking notes.
Keeping my ears on the pulse with this. But no, it just so happens I was actually listening to an episode where they were completely anti this. And they were completely like, you're giving away knowledge for free, you're educating, blah, blah, blah. I see the point, but I raise you because I have the proof in the pudding. I have seen this work time and time and time again. Look, there's a reason this is my favourite. One is because I do this all the time. And to be honest with you, I hired someone very senior in my last company who actually modelled this for me. And I saw this in action because, funny enough, they didn't think of themselves as a salesperson. This is also where it's a favourite, right? Because a lot of people are like, I'm not sales, I don't come from sales, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to. This is that mindset shift again as well. If you're recentering the customer, as you phrased it, if you're listening to them, you don't have happy ears, and you're genuinely coming up with an entrepreneurial solution, sorry to break it to you, but that's sales. And so this senior person, going back to this senior hire I made in my last team, I mean, to be fair, they genuinely were an authority in their field and they loved what they did. And so to them, it was just so much easier to almost get stuck into business. Yeah. And what was amazing about it was it also gave the prospect a taste of what it would be like to work with us as marketing consultants. And so that's another thing maybe we'll talk about separately is the certainty that you need to provide the customer in that conversion point, right? So they need to know what's going to happen exactly when I sign the dotted line, when I make that transfer, what's going to happen. I need that reassurance. What are the next steps? Are we booking a call? Are we doing a kickoff? How long is it going to take? When can I start to see results? Blah, blah, blah. And so that's another kind of solution to this too, is you're giving them a flavour of what it is like to work with you. Again, whether you're a coach, consultant, whatever subject matter expert in your field, even as a public speaker, this comes into it as well, because you are the prize, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be there kind of beggy. No. You don't want this kind of energy. It's very much, great, this is a treat for you. We've got 20, 30 minutes on the clock. Both our time is valuable. Let me give you as much value as I can in the time that we've got. And if we're a fit, these are the next steps.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think sometimes people will say the same thing to me because I'll always offer, I don't really do a sales pitch. I do a 30 minutes free sales advice. And at the end, I tell you what my terms are. And the reason, and people also say to me, well, why do you do that? You're giving away all your advice, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always a bit shocked, especially when consultants say that, because I go, if they can get all of my advice from half an hour, then what am I charging them for in the future? Like, there's a fine, like, I've been able to make some really amazing impact in 30 minutes for people, but there's only a limit to how much advice you can give in half an hour, especially since they have to give you the problem, explain the situation first. And I actually think that it's a really good way to vet if we're good fits, because when I am speaking to someone who wants to be coached by me, I give them a piece of homework before we start working together.
Nice.
Actually, before we decide we're going to work together.
Yeah.
And I give them a bit of a deadline. And the piece of advice I give them is, I think, one of the best like sales strategies I give anyone, like coaching. And it makes people ridiculous amounts of money. And the reason why I always give it away for free is because, for one, if it goes really, really well for them, and actually it goes so well, they might not need to work with me. And then they can save their money and they can just go and make more off the back of that. Like, that's amazing. Also, if that is it, then they don't need me, because like, what else do they need? If they do it and it works, they then have more revenue that they can invest into me, and it's less of a stress and a panic, and we can just go have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it, then probably not the right fit, because you've got to go make the effort. You've got to try, and you're being given something free. You're being given an opportunity. And this is the whole thing with sales. Do you take that opportunity or not? And so, yeah, I love this. I hadn't ever thought of it, but I think I might be the authority.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Definitely.
it.
Comment below if you think you're the authority as well. And as you're listening, I mean, look, I'm sure none of you are going to self-identify with the snake.
I used to be the snake, and, yeah.
But if there's any of these others that you're identifying with, do let us know in the comments below. All right. Last but not least, we are ending, of course, on a high note. Tash, take us out on the last one here.
So I'm taking back, so I just made as a little joke that I was a snake, but I've made it very clear I'm not. But this, I have been the competitive twat. I have been this person. I also think almost every salesperson is this person at some time, and sometimes always. Because if you're in a team, you've all got numbers and you can see everyone else's numbers. And the vast majority, and hey, come argue with me in the comments, I'm happy to have that argument, most sales managers try to encourage that. And they will put all the numbers on the board so people can feel competitive. But with all of this, what it breeds is usually someone that isn't very nice to work with and is always measuring themselves. And the problem with someone who's the good part of a competitive twat is that they will work very, very hard and they will hit their numbers, we hope. In fact, they will exceed, because it's not just about hitting a number, it's about making more than everyone else. But the problem is, if the rest of the team don't like them and they don't get on well with them, it produces a really, really horrible environment and can create the snake. And it becomes like a little loop. And so I think one of the best things you can do if you have someone who's really competitive, first of all, if you have a team with targets, it is important that they are balanced to the industry and the opportunity. Everyone should not have the same target unless they are all doing exactly the same thing with exactly the same market. Everyone should have different targets. And that should be very clearly explained. And you should not encourage the competition. One of the best ways to do that is to create a team target. And everyone has their own personal percentage they need to reach, and that can be kept between them and the manager if it needs be. But what we're all tracking and looking at is that one big number, and you all get your personal commissions, but there's also this big bonus that everybody gets if you hit that goal. And that is a really nice way to remove the competitiveness
Nice.
and just create like a really good team energy.
Yeah, love that. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Do comment below, which of the 5 do you think you are? I'm sure none of you again are the snake, but brave cold caller, hunter or farmer, the authority or the competitive twat. Thank you so much for tuning in. Episodes are every Monday, so hopefully see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.